The dust has finally settled on one of the most explosive reality television divorces in recent memory. The Real Housewives of Atlanta star Porsha Williams has officially emerged victorious in her high-stakes legal war against her ex-husband, Nigerian businessman Simon Guobadia. In a staggering courtroom conclusion that reads like a Hollywood script, Williams has secured sole ownership of their sprawling multi-million-dollar Atlanta estate, a massive equity payout, and the keys to a luxury fleet. But as Guobadia fires back from across the globe, the true cost of this win is coming under intense scrutiny. After a 15-month marriage and a wildly contentious 2-year legal battle, the finalized divorce settlement, confirmed during an August 5 hearing, delivered a devastating blow to Guobadia's assets. Presiding judge strictly enforced the couple's prenuptial agreement, handing Williams a sweeping financial victory. Here is the exact breakdown of the assets Williams secured in the final decree. Asset/payout details. The premarital mansion sole ownership of the $7.8 million Atlanta estate via quitclaim deed. Williams holds full authority to refinance or sell commercially without Guobadia's interference. Equity reimbursement: a staggering $1,568,181.63 cash payout from Guobadia's share of the home's equity. Alimony $40,000 per month for 15 months. Luxury vehicles. The title to a 2021 Rolls-Royce Ghost, originally gifted by Guobadia. Legal fees: Guobadia is mandated to cover Williams's exorbitant attorney fees incurred during the prenup enforcement battle. While fans celebrated Williams getting her bag, Simon Guobadia refused to take the legal loss quietly. Following his deportation to Nigeria, the businessman took straight to his Instagram stories to unleash a bombshell claim that immediately shifted the narrative. Posting a celebratory message about his freedom, Guobadia fired back at the headlines. Guobadia's claim highlights the dark side of winning a massive real estate asset. Securing the title to a 15,300 square foot megamansion does not mean owning it free and clear. Between existing mortgages, potential liens, crippling property taxes, astronomical insurance premiums, and daily carrying costs, the $8 million valuation may actually represent the liability tied to the property rather than liquid wealth. If the estate is heavily leveraged with debt, Williams may be forced to quickly liquidate the property just to break even, entirely undermining the perceived win. The road to this settlement was paved with aggressive legal maneuvering. Prenup misrepresentation defense. 2024 to 2025. Guobadia initially fought the enforcement of the prenup, claiming Williams committed fraud by misrepresenting her career plans. He argued he would never have signed an agreement guaranteeing her half of his $7 million premarital home if he knew she planned to return to the Real Housewives of Atlanta after publicly claiming she had quit the industry. The judge ultimately dismissed this defense. Contempt of court lawsuit. August 2025. Williams sued Guobadia for $667,359 in back due payments, accusing him of willfully ignoring the prenup's terms, abandoning car loan obligations, and failing to maintain life insurance requirements. The final settlement hearing. August 5, 2026. Both parties confirmed the final settlement under oath, finalizing the transfer of the mansion and the $1.56 million equity payout to Williams. The most chaotic element of this divorce was Guobadia's sudden removal from the United States months after Williams filed for divorce. Guobadia, who had resided in the U.S. for 42 years, was detained by Immigration and Customs Enforcement (ICE) in Lumpkin, Georgia. His detention completely derailed the divorce proceedings, as his legal team could not establish reliable contact with him in the heavily restricted federal facility. After spending 4 months in ICE custody, Guobadia was deported to Nigeria. His removal from the country severely complicates Williams's ability to actually collect the $1.56 million equity payout and the $667,000 in arrearages she is legally owed. U.S. civil judgments are notoriously difficult to enforce across international borders, leaving legal experts questioning if Williams will ever see a dime of the cash she was awarded. The internet was quick to crown Porsha the ultimate winner when the August 5 settlement docs went public, but real estate experts and financial analysts are sounding the alarm. Owning a $7 to $8 million, 15,300 square foot megamansion in Fulton County, Georgia, is practically a full-time job, and a devastatingly expensive one. While Simon has signed over the quitclaim deed, removing himself from the title, the underlying financial obligations do not magically disappear. If Simon was heavily mortgaged on the property or leveraged the equity for other business ventures, which his $8 million in debt comment strongly implies, Porsha could be holding the bag. The reality of mega mansion upkeep. Property taxes. In Fulton County, a home of this valuation commands property taxes easily exceeding $100,000 annually. Maintenance and staff. A 15,000 plus square foot estate requires a dedicated team, landscapers for the sprawling grounds, pool maintenance, security systems, and interior housekeeping. Experts estimate this runs upwards of $15,000 to $20,000 a month. Utilities and insurance. Insuring an estate of this magnitude, combined with the astronomical cooling and heating costs in Georgia, adds tens of thousands more to the yearly burn rate. Without Simon's executive producer and entrepreneurial income, the financial burden falls squarely on Porsha's Bravo paycheck and brand deals. The settlement notably gives her the sole authority to refinance the home or sell it through commercially reasonable means. Many insiders speculate that we will see a for sale sign on the manicured lawn before the end of the year, as Porsha may quickly realize that cashing out is the only way to avoid drowning in the estate's overhead. Perhaps the most glaring loophole in Porsha's legal victory is the massive cash payout she was awarded. The judge decreed that Simon owes Porsha $1,568,181.63 as a reimbursement from his share of the property's equity. But there is a massive problem. Simon Guobadia is currently living in Nigeria following his deportation. U.S. family court judgments hold incredible power domestically. If Simon were still living in Atlanta, a judge could easily garnish his wages, seize his domestic bank accounts, or place liens on his stateside businesses to force compliance. But international debt collection is an entirely different beast. Domestic enforcement attempt. Porsha's legal team must first attempt to locate and seize any of Simon's remaining U.S.-based assets, business accounts, or properties that weren't liquidated prior to his deportation. To international domestication. If U.S. assets are insufficient, her lawyers must hire international counsel to attempt to domesticate the Georgia civil judgment in the Nigerian legal system. 3. Foreign court proceedings. Nigerian courts would then have to review the case, recognize the U.S. judgment, and authorize the seizure of Simon's Nigerian assets, a notoriously complex, expensive, and drawn-out legal process that can take years. Simon knows exactly how difficult it is to collect across borders. His social media taunts about being debt-free suggest he feels entirely untouchable in his home country. Porsha may have secured a multi-million-dollar judgment on paper, but turning that court order into actual cash in her bank account could cost her hundreds of thousands in international legal fees with no guarantee of success. Amidst the millions of dollars in real estate and equity being tossed around, the settlement also addressed one highly visible asset, the 2021 Rolls-Royce Ghost. The luxury vehicle, which retails for roughly $330,000 to $400,000 depending on custom specifications, was frequently featured on Porsha's social media during happier times. As part of the final decree, Simon officially signed over the title to Porsha. However, during the contentious build-up to the settlement, Porsha had previously sued Simon for contempt of court, accusing him of abandoning car loan obligations. If the Rolls-Royce still carries an active, high-interest auto loan that Simon has stopped paying, Porsha hasn't just won a car. She's inherited a massive monthly car payment to keep the repo man out of her new, gated driveway. While the financial logistics are messy, the narrative payoff for Porsha is undeniably lucrative. Simon's defense against the prenup hinged heavily on his claim that Porsha lied about her career intentions, insisting she promised she was done with reality TV. Instead, the timing of her divorce perfectly coincided with her highly anticipated return to the Real Housewives of Atlanta for its upcoming season. Bravo cameras have allegedly been rolling throughout the climax of this legal battle. Reality television thrives on exactly this kind of high-stakes, real-world drama. The divorce, the deportation shock, the fight for the mansion, and Simon's Instagram retaliations are practically guaranteed to be the central storyline of RHOA Season 17. Simon's legal team filed a lien against the property demanding over $205,000 in unpaid legal fees. Porsha's legal team was reportedly the first to file a lien of their own, ensuring they get paid from the eventual sale of the house before anyone else. This double lien drama drastically complicates Porsha's 36-month window to either refinance or sell the estate. A quitclaim deed only transfers whatever interest Simon had. It does not wipe out existing liens. In real estate, title companies will not allow a property to be sold or refinanced until all active liens are cleared. This means that if Porsha wants to sell the house to escape the astronomical monthly carrying costs, hundreds of thousands of dollars will immediately be skimmed off the top just to pay the divorce lawyers. Simon's Instagram flex about being debt-free while she inherited the burden is starting to look less like bitter shade and more like a calculated financial reality. Court of public opinion remains heavily divided on the true outcome of this settlement. Team Porsha views this as the ultimate reality TV checkmate. She entered a 15-month marriage, endured her husband's shocking deportation, and walked away with a massive real estate portfolio, a Rolls-Royce, and a highly lucrative storyline for her return to the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Team Simon, however, points to the international logistics. With Simon in Nigeria, Porsha is left holding the bag on a heavily encumbered megamansion while fighting an uphill international legal battle to collect the $1.56 million she is owed. Fans are already speculating that the impending stress of selling the lien-riddled home will be a central conflict for Porsha on RHOA. While the official court documents paint a picture of a massive victory, the financial realities on the ground are telling a much darker story. Rumors are swirling across gossip forums and social media that Porsha is already resorting to drastic measures just to keep the lights on at the $7.3 million mega mansion. According to online sleuths, Porsha allegedly sold her previous mansion in Duluth, Georgia, the very same home she famously claimed to have gifted to her mother. The speculation is that Porsha was forced to liquidate her own unencumbered real estate just to cover the suffocating mortgage payments, liens, and utility bills at Simon's sprawling estate after he completely stopped paying the bills. If these rumors hold true, Simon's debt trap strategy worked perfectly. Instead of walking away richer, Porsha may be burning through her own premarital wealth just to maintain the illusion of a victory. Before Simon could flex his debt-free status from Nigeria, he had to face the judge in Georgia, and his testimony was nothing short of a spectacular disaster. In a desperate attempt to avoid paying Porsha the massive equity reimbursement and her $40,000 a month alimony, Simon tried to convince the court that he was completely broke. He claimed under oath that his deportation tanked the value of his petroleum company Simcol from an eye-watering $296 million to absolutely zero in a matter of months. The judge was entirely unamused. In the final ruling, the judge brutally dismantled Simon's defense, explicitly stating that his testimony strains credibility. Court pointed out a glaring plot hole in Simon's story. Prior to his ICE detention, Simon routinely lived outside of the U.S. for more than half the year while successfully running his international businesses. Court refused to believe that working from Nigeria suddenly made a $250 million company vanish into thin air, and ordered him to pay up. You might think that after the divorce was finalized on June 11th, the legal war was over. You would be wrong. Simon has escalated the battle from state family court to federal court. He is currently suing Porsha for a staggering $500,000 in damages over lost business. The grounds for this lawsuit? Social media shade. Simon alleges that Porsha's ruthless Instagram posts during their separation, specifically posts where she allegedly mocked him regarding erectile dysfunction, directly damaged his reputation and cost him lucrative business opportunities. This lawsuit forces Porsha to continue paying exorbitant legal fees to defend herself in federal court, effectively bleeding her dry even after she won the divorce. If Simon thought he could overturn the judge's massive financial ruling from Nigeria, he was sorely mistaken. Following the brutal August settlement that stripped him of the $7.3 million mansion, the 2021 Rolls-Royce Ghost, and ordered a $1.56 million equity payout, Simon's legal team filed a desperate appeal. His goal? To invalidate the prenup entirely and escape the crippling $40,000 a month alimony payments. Court completely shut him down. The judge reaffirmed that the prenuptial agreement was an enforceable contract and reiterated that Simon's claims of sudden financial ruin lacked any credibility. Porsha's reaction to winning the final appeal was exactly what you would expect from a top-tier reality star. Rather than issuing a formal press release, she took to social media, posting a simple two-word victory lap. "It's over." She followed it up with a video of herself strutting onto a private jet, captioned with a single word, "Free." To understand why this legal victory feels so personal for Porsha, we have to look back at the sheer level of petty behavior that ignited this real estate war in the first place. Before Porsha was officially awarded exclusive use of the Atlanta mansion, the situation escalated into a full-blown turf war. During the messiest days of the separation, Simon allegedly changed all the locks on the 15,300 square foot estate. Porsha was forced to demand an emergency hearing, accusing her estranged husband of deliberately locking her out of her own home in a move she slammed as vindictive and retaliatory for her simply filing for divorce. Winning the deed to the house wasn't just a financial victory for Porsha, it was the ultimate revenge for being locked out of her own front door while Porsha may be flying private and celebrating her freedom. A massive ticking time bomb is hidden deep within the divorce decree. The judge granted Porsha exactly 36 months to either refinance the mortgage on the $7.3 million mansion to successfully remove Simon's name from the title, or she is legally mandated to sell the property. Refinancing a mega mansion on a single income is already a monumental task, but Simon's unpaid bills have made it nearly impossible. Simon's own divorce lawyer, Onima Ferry, slapped a massive $205,884.25 attorney's lien directly onto the house because Simon allegedly stiffed him on the legal bill. Because a property cannot be refinanced with active, uncleared liens attached to the title, Porsha is stuck. Unless she pays off Simon's $250,000 lawyer bill out of her own pocket, the 36-month clock will run out, and she will be forced to put the house on the market. You cannot talk about the downfall of this marriage without talking about how it started. For longtime Bravo viewers, the fact that Porsha is now trapped in a legal nightmare over this specific mega mansion feels like the universe delivering a massive dose of full-circle karma. Let's rewind. Simon Guobadia first appeared on The Real Housewives of Atlanta as the husband of Fallon Pina, then Fallon Guobadia. Fallon was introduced to the cast specifically as Porsha's friend. Viewers watched Fallon proudly show off this exact same $7 million Atlanta mansion, the pool, and the luxury cars. When Simon and Fallon abruptly divorced, Porsha shocked the world by announcing her engagement to Simon just a month later. Fallon was forced to pack up her life and move out of the lavish estate, while Porsha moved in and eventually secured the title to the very same house and the 2021 Rolls-Royce Ghost. But now, the internet is having a field day with the irony. Fallon lost the mansion, but she also escaped the $8 million in debt, the double legal liens, the suffocating property taxes, and the federal lawsuits. As Porsha scrambles to figure out how to refinance or sell the heavily encumbered property before her 36-month clock runs out, Team Fallon supporters are taking to social media to call this the ultimate reality TV karma. If Simon thought his deportation and financial traps were going to keep Porsha sitting in that empty mansion crying over him, he deeply underestimated her ability to bounce back. The divorce drama has a major subplot that changes the entire dynamic of Porsha's return to RHOA. According to recent reports, Porsha has completely moved on and is publicly exploring a new chapter in her dating life. In late 2025, she went public with her new girlfriend Patrice Sway McKinney. This completely flips the script on the victim narrative. Porsha is allegedly filming the upcoming season of The Real Housewives of Atlanta not just as a woman surviving a brutal, high-profile divorce and fighting off her ex-husband's international legal attacks, but as a woman embracing a completely new romance. Simon is stuck in Nigeria posting Instagram subs, while Porsha is reportedly living her best life with Sway. This fresh relationship gives Bravo cameras the perfect counterbalance to the heavy, stressful legal meetings about liens and foreclosures, and a twist no one saw coming. Porsha's other famous ex, Dennis McKinley, has ended up looking like the stable, reliable one in comparison to the Simon chaos. Dennis, who is the father of Porsha's daughter Pilar Gina, PJ, had a notoriously rocky relationship with Porsha, completely falling apart on her spin-off show Porsha's Family Matters. However, throughout the Simon deportation shock and the ensuing financial warfare, Dennis has remained in Atlanta as a consistent co-parent for years. Simon and Dennis subtly shaded each other online regarding who was the real provider for the family. Now, with Simon exiled and fighting to prove he isn't broke, Dennis's hot dog empire and local business ventures seem incredibly grounded. Fans are eager to see if Dennis will make an appearance on season 17 to offer his unfiltered commentary on the downfall of the man who replaced him. With the legal dust finally settling and the 36-month countdown clock ticking on the mansion, all eyes are turning to how this explosive divorce will actually play out on television. Porsha Williams didn't just return to the Real Housewives of Atlanta for a paycheck. She returned to control the narrative. Reality TV insiders are reporting that Bravo cameras have been capturing the entire legal roller coaster in real time. But with Simon legally barred from re-entering the United States, production faces a unique challenge. How do you film a bitter divorce when one half of the couple is 6,000 miles away? Instead of explosive face-to-face sit-downs, season 17 is reportedly leaning heavily into the legal drama. Expect to see Porsha meeting with high-powered attorneys, discovering the double liens in real time, and reacting to Simon's relentless Instagram taunts on camera. By keeping Simon off our screens but constantly in the storyline, Porsha gets to play the ultimate survivor, completely controlling how the financial mess is explained to the audience without Simon there to interrupt or defend himself. A major divorce storyline is only as good as the cast's reaction to it, and the RHOA ladies are notoriously unforgiving when it comes to financial scandals. Just ask Sherry Whitfield or Kenya Moore. While Porsha is returning as the undisputed queen of the season, she is stepping back into a Shark Tank. Cast dynamics are allegedly split when it comes to the $8 million mansion settlement. The loyalists, longtime allies, are rallying around Porsha, framing her as a victim of Simon's financial smoke and mirrors and his sudden deportation. They are fully supporting her reclaiming her independence storyline. The messy skeptics, other cast members, are reportedly side-eyeing the victory lap. According to leaked production rumors, some housewives are actively bringing up the liens, the Duluth house sale, and Simon's debt trap claims during filming. They are the ones asking the tough questions on camera. If you won, why are you stressed about the mortgage? This internal cast conflict ensures that Porsha won't just get a free pass to play the victim. She will have to fiercely defend her financial reality against women who know exactly how expensive it is to maintain an Atlanta mega mansion. Regardless of whether the mansion is ultimately sold or refinanced, Porsha Williams has proven herself to be one of the most resilient reality stars in Bravo history. This divorce, while financially perilous, is the ultimate rebrand. She is shedding the wife label that defined her spin-offs and returning to her roots as an independent, wealthy, and highly entertaining single woman. The $1.56 million equity payout might be trapped across the Atlantic, and the mansion might come with $205,000 in attorney liens, but the brand endorsements, podcast deals, and heightened RHOA ratings generated by this scandal will likely out-earn whatever